and I was one of the contestants. We were shooting it in Santo Domingo, and when it came to that show, it wasn't about sexism that much, but it was mostly about my body type and how I was able to run, or why I was bigger than other girls, that they were more petite, or they were more muscular, because it's a show about running, getting stuff done. And I remember many people, even on the show, or of course after I went out and I saw the comments, were commenting about my body type, how many kilos I had more than I should have had, generally about my appearance. That was another really tough situation for me to go. Yeah, and again, with lots of therapy, I managed to realize that it's not about their perception of me, but my perception. And I wanna finish my speech with a few more words, and I'm out. We must continue to challenge all the boundaries that there are in the world, or even in this industry, and all the stereotypes that are in the arts. Together we can create an arts industry that truly reflects the rich diversity of the world we live in. I encourage all of you to be a part of this change, whether you're an artist, a fan, or simply someone who appreciates the power of storytelling. Let's work together to break boundaries and pave the way for a more inclusive and representative arts community. Thank you. Maybe I'm better at it.
Mariposa, what is your plan for the future? What is your goal? What is your vision? Career-wise, woman-wise, family-wise?
Okay. Like Beyonce once said, I want to be happy. Because sometimes, like lately, I'm not in my happiest period of my life. But when it comes to, sorry guys, to my plans, I would like to be a part of more films and generally being on screen more. I'm also taking extra classes and lessons in improv and generally acting. And yeah, when it comes to family, no, I'm still a baby. I'm not.
Yeah, so your plan is after 30, after 40?
Yes, probably. But sometimes I think that we shouldn't even ask that.
Because it's not your priority.
Yeah, of course. But nowadays, even without thinking of creating a family, it's still a...
Okay, my last question.
Yes.
When you apply for a job, or they offer you a job, what are your criteria to choose this job? And what are the criteria don't choose this job?
It's mostly of like a minor thing. If I feel that there's something sketchy maybe about a job, or something that doesn't feel, I don't know, close to how I go, how I pursue life, like I just might say no. I don't know, I want to feel safe in every environment I choose to go to. Yeah, because I feel like many times in the past I've been used or abused in the industry. So nowadays I feel like I prefer to say more no's than yeses.
Okay. Do you have a manager?
Yes.
Okay. So your manager maybe.
I have two different managements, to be honest. I have one for the social media in Greece, and I have another management which is like a talent management, and it's like all over. It's a university. And I hope I get more exposure outside of Greece and Cyprus in the next few years to come. I manifest it.
So thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Now I would like to invite Joohee Jeon from Korea, music composer, singer, filmmaker. We are going to see her film happen this afternoon. tell us, before you start, so you came now from Korea or
Yes,
from the United States?
I flew from South Korea. I'm based in South Korea right now. So I will be talking about myself a little bit later, but I'll just start right now since we're waiting for PowerPoint to be open. So I was born in South Korea. I grew up, I spent half of my life in Korea and half of my life in Vancouver, Canada. And then I finished my middle school, high school, and college in Canada, and then I moved to New York for my grad school for master's in music, specifically in film scoring at NYU. So I lived in New York for 4 years, and then I moved back to Korea, and it's been 5 years working there. And as you know, Korean film industry and TV shows, they're rising very quickly, and I feel like I'm at the right moment, perfect timing in Korea. And I will introduce some of my works as a composer. Some of them you can check out on Netflix and other OTT sites. So I'm gonna compare the system in the States and then in Korea. And in Korea, film composers are called as film music director. So they are directing music. So that's how it's called in Korea. So anything related to music, the music director or composer has more ideas and more voice in that, and then it's all about collaboration between the director and music director. And so far, I've worked with directors who are open to the ideas from composers. So, and they give more freedom for composers to work and come up with the ideas that the composer originally has. So firstly, somehow we get connected and sign the contract. I received the script first, and then read the script I read the script, and then I meet with the film director and producers and even investors, everyone, and then we talk about the film and become friends. So we know what kind of styles and what kind of ideas they have, and what kind of themes and messages they want to share. So it's always the best to become friends rather than like work business partners. So that's one of the first steps as a composer. And during the pre-production, we talk about styles, instruments, and sometimes the composers come up with ideas, so make a little bit of themes of the film, and then share it with other filmmakers, the film director and producers and other staff of the film. And during this conversation, we can come up with what kind of style and what kind of instruments to use. Specifically in Korea, some of the films I worked, we combine with Korean traditional instruments to modern style electronic music, which become really unique and special music for Korean films. Although it's not, there isn't any like Korean traditional look into it, but it can give some kind of feeling and special effect by putting some kind of Korean traditional instruments into that modern style music. During the production, I always like to visit the shooting site, so I get the idea of the real site and how it looks like in the camera, and I really want to feel the vibe. So I always visit the shooting site a few times, and also meet with actors and actresses and other crews of the film. So I get more ideas and feeling about the film. I received the site edits. So many times I get the raw edits that they shoot it on that day. So I bring that file home and then start working on it. Although it's not finished, the edits is not done, but I just start working on it so I can share the ideas of the music with the director as soon as possible. And then from there, there's a lot of revisions, but that's I need to do. And I'm actually happily to make new versions because if the music is not used there, I collect all the unused music and release it as my own album or use it for something else. So it's always to make new music, and I don't try to stick to that one idea because you know the director and other crews of the film might like it or not, and it might suit the scene or not, and I have to be open and be very free to let it go or take it. So it's always better to come up with new ideas, and sometimes I make like 2 or 3 versions of the same scene, so the director can choose which theme or which music they like. Yeah, so it's actually fun making different versions, and they sometimes see. So if there are 2 characters in that scene, I make a version of focusing on this A character, and sometimes the second version can be focused on the B character, and then it really tells the story differently. And then just watching it from the beginning to the end, the director can see, oh, maybe this scene, I thought the character A is more important in this scene, but just watching it the second version, I feel like it's better to have focus on the character B. So sometimes it really gives more ideas for the director. So it's always good to have different versions for the same scene. And I'm sure some composers hate making more music, but if you don't like it, just keep asking for the composers to come up with new idea, because it might be helpful for them too, just to build their portfolio as well. And post-production, that's when the real thing happens. We go over the spotting session again, although I worked some of the music for the the side edits. This time it can be, I can just leave all my work there, and again, I like to make few versions. So one version with music editing, which is you put existing music for samples, or any music that the director liked before, I like to put it. That's a music editing version. And then the other version, I add some of my work or the music that I made before for other films, but something that's suitable for this film. I just edit for the directors to have idea how the scene is going to be. It's actually easier for me to make new music for that scene rather than putting existing music, because it feels really different. Because when I work with the scene, I need to emphasize something and I need to get the right heat, and it really tells the story, helps the scene. But like existing music, I don't just put the whole music into it, but I have to also edit the like verse part or chorus part or like different music into one music. So I feel like it's more work for me. And sometimes the directors get stuck with that music samples. And I don't like that to happen, but it's one of the process, so I have to go through. So I always tell the directors that it's gonna be better than music editing. So trust me, don't get stuck to this music. Yeah, that's what I tell the directors. And it's called temp track. So temporary music, that's called temp track. And usually usually in the States there is music editor who does all the temp track working. But in Korea, most likely the composer or the music director does all the job from music editing, composition, and editing the music that's done composing. If there's a team, usually it's more like there are other composers working for the head composer to make more music for that limited time. So when I work on the scene, sometimes I just watch it without any sound or any music, and usually there's BPM in that scene. Usually there's a rhythm in that certain scene. So sometimes I just watch the scene over and over again, more than 10 times, even more than 20 times to get the right BPM, to get the right rhythm. Just watch it, and then sometimes it goes like, okay, that's the right BPM for that scene. It could be like really slow or really fast. Just get the right BPM and then start working on it based on that BPM. And also for like action scenes, I like to mark all the hits. So I get the right point where I need to emphasize and give hits. I mark it and work around that hit. So this process can be discussed during the post-production meeting with the director, where we're going to give hit, where we're going to put music, and where to put which theme can be added in which scene. And usually the main character has its own theme, and sometimes the situation can have a specific theme, so the audience can know, because the scene changes, but then sometimes the music helps the audience to have the continuity of the scene. So I like to give the variation of the themes for similar situation or similar events of the scene as well, and as well as for the character. And then I know people usually say good film music shouldn't be noticed, and somehow I agree to it, but I believe the music itself has to be good. Just by listening to the music, it has to be good, but it has to suit the scene, and it shouldn't anticipate the scene. The music shouldn't anticipate and tell the audience, okay, here's the time to cry, here's the time to be ready for the scary part. No, music should just help and help the emotion, and it shouldn't go, I would say don't cross the line. I would say don't cross the line of the emotion and the story. It really has to match the level of emotions. Many times I see like drama film and the music is too much. It's like the music wants the audience to cry, but it really has to match the level of the emotions. So although the music is beautiful, if it's too much, it's like too much for the scene, then you really need to ask the composers to make it a little less, or take out some of the instruments, like that. So I'm gonna show you an example of an ending scene of a scene that I combine the Korean traditional instruments and modern instruments. Korean traditional instruments. Sorry, I forgot to bring the photos of the instruments to give you some ideas about it. So there were percussions, there were some wind instruments that I used. Although as you can see, you can find any like Korean. I mean, there are Koreans, but not like Korean traditional era or like old Korean era or anything. But it was nice to mix with the Korean traditional music instruments and to modern style of music. One more thing that I would like to share is so when camera zooms in or zooms out, that's also the place where the music can really help the audience to, get into the scene with the camera moving. So that's one thing that you can remember and talk to the composer. When the camera moves in, then the music really can help the emotions. There are more music that I wanted to share with you, but since we have limited time, I just want to share since the topic is also includes about the theatrical plays, which I thought about sharing some of the musical theater songwriting as well. I also write songs as well. And then I would say the difference between the musical theater songwriting and just regular song and film music is that film music shouldn't tell the story of, it should help the scene, but not like literally show what's going on. But before that, maybe it's better to share some of the animation that I worked, because animation, it really needs to help to tell the story and give each hit, and it's really fun to work it. So I'm just going to share one more example for the.
Can I make a question?
Yes.
What is more important for you, sound design or music?
It's music. It's a scary movie. So yeah, there is a separate role for sound designer and music composer. But music composer and sound designer need to work together, and we communicate a lot. But firstly, I just need to make the music for the whole scene, and then the sound designer sometimes work around the music. When there is a hit, the sound effect can help to emphasize the hit, or sometimes the music needs to fade out and the sound needs to come out, and sometimes there needs to be only music. So there needs to be a lot of conversation between the director, sound designer, and composer.
But if you had to choose, you choose music.
Music.
Only music.
Yes.
Because you can create sound also.
Yes, that's true. That's true. And sometimes the sound designer asks me to, can you give more that bass sound? So it really helps the sound designing. So it's all about collaboration with sound designing and music, but I prefer working with music.
자, 렌치치 정시 사야지.
need a subtitle for this, right? So working on animation, the music really needs to say a lot of things, and then shouldn't be. It needs to make the kids to keep concentrating on it. So it shouldn't be boring. It should be there should be a lot of things going on for animations like this. And there's one, yes. Okay. I'm going to share a music score of musical theater, where because I want to show the difference between all those different genres and different types of music. So this is just one of the pages of the musical theater. You can see the line up here and all other instruments down here. And then we call this vamp. There's a part where the actress speaks. So it's called vamp. And then we don't know what's gonna happen during the live performance. So other instrument players, they need to hold the one note until the actress finishes the line. It can be longer or it can be shorter, so the music director or the conductor has to be really listening and see the whole thing to start the next bar. So this is how it works. That's like one of the things that's important in musical theater. And for musical theaters, it's always fun to make. It's called word painting. So it says the letter sheep, and then I wanted to make sound of sheep by playing the bassoon, playing trios. I'm gonna play the music in a bit, so you can just have an idea how the word painting is like, and then have idea about the music. And then one more example would be, so I added some kind of parody to it. There is a lyric say phone, and then I added the ringtone of the iPhone ringtone. You'll listen to it. Okay. And another parody would be, I put a phrase about the Little Mermaid, Ariel, a lot, and then I gave a little hint of the theme of the Little Mermaid theme. So let's take a listen to this. This is a live performance of that only song. There's just listen to the music. if you want to work with musical theater, you can always think about that. And I'll share one last thing, that it's like rising these days. It can be also called as like theatrical thing, but there is media art rising, which is, so media art is, you might have seen in museums or like media, it's also called media facade, where the projection shoots on the wall, and then there's like, yeah, so that's what I'm working on these days a lot. And I really want to encourage some of you to try this one because it's rising area of art. So I made the visual art and then music as well. And the music is played lively. So I do the live performance, and then the visual actually tracks the music and then it moves. Sorry, I'm gonna share just one good one. So I'm like performing the live music, and then the media art, it interacts with the music, and then it moves. So this is like one of the things that I really wanted to share, which is rising these days. If you have more questions, if you want to know more about like media art or any like film music or anything else, please come up to me and ask me questions. Thank you.
And can you see the presentation?
Tell me about like international producers or directors. Did they come to Korea, and did you have any experience with working in collaboration with international film producers or directors?
Since I'm from, I studied and worked in New York, and went back to Korea, I still have connections and contacts with directors in New York and other states in the United States. So, and then other countries as well. So we work online, we do Zoom meeting, we share the files online, like Google Drive and stuff. And for me, I work with, for my own film, I also work with other colorists who live in other countries. So I think these days working across different countries, it's more getting popular.
And did you find it easy to communicate and get the idea from different culture, from different things? I mean, are you working on a very broad range of the music?
Yes. I've worked on an Indian film as well.
Okay.
So I had to use the authentic, the traditional Indian instruments, and then they also like not traditional Indian music, but something. Fusion of music. So I found out that they find it more interesting having different genres putting into their film. So it's always fun to work with other culture.
Right.
Thank you.
Because we're talking about using so many different instruments, so in your conception of the music, at what point do you get the real instrument involved?
Mm-hmm.
How much of it is digital? How many instruments do you then play yourself? Do you have musicians you go to?
Mm-hmm.
How does it work, especially with unique instruments?
Oh, right. I would like to work on computer first because it's faster. And then in Korea, everything has to be really quick. I get the file, and then like in a couple of days, we have a meeting, so I have to finish making music in like 2 or 3 days. Then I have to work on the computer first. and then I record onto it, which gives really different feeling. So I try to record almost everything except for like electronic sound. So Korean, I have a lot of instruments in my studio where I can just try different things, experiment on different sounds. So even if it's the same drum, I don't just play the drum. I try to use, like pencil to hit the drum or other stuff to make different and unique sound. And the director always wants a unique sound for their specific film, so I try to make that own unique sound by recording.
And do you have also a group of musicians that you?
I do. I have
Yes.
contacts. I have like string players, orchestra. I always ask the orchestra to record the music.
I have
Because you also mentioned that you write songs, so do you sing as well, or you have
I do,
Okay, cool.
but sometimes it's always to get a different singers to get different feeling of that song. And when you make a demo, it has to be really good quality. So there was one time that I just sketched piano, and then I gave it to the director, and director couldn't imagine how it's gonna be. So I found out that even it's a demo, it has to be good. So even if it's a demo for a song, a good singer has to sing it, and then give to the director.
Yeah, I do have a final question.
Yes.
My final question is about, have you ever came across a director, Korean or international, to ask you to work on a pre-record?
Yes.
Pre-record the tracks,
Right.
and then how do you collaborate, how do you integrate a pre-recorded reference, which director is supposed to use in the film to
Right.
bring under your
Right.
music director?
Right. I actually wrote that down, but I forgot to point it out, but I'm gonna bring it. Yeah, there are times when I really need to make music first, especially the scenes where it requires instrument playing.
Sorry. Let me just turn off this microphone for now. It's really
not do it.
hurting
Really.
our ears.
It's not, let's just not use
Turn
it
it off.
Yeah, just
To
you
fix
don't
it,
need
I
the
want
mic.
to fix it.
It's so hurting our ears.
Yeah, but it's so small, the room.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So the scene that requires live playing, for example, like if there's a drum playing in the scene, I make the music first, and then director comes in, and then we all imagine how it's gonna be, and then I bring the music to the shooting site, and then we play the music. With the BPM, and the actors really play with the music, and then we sync that with the music.
But if it's a pre-recorded
Pre-recorded
track,
track.
or something, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, I got it.
And you were saying you like to actually compose the temp music already, so that directors don't get used to other people's music? Is that what you kind of said?
That's what I like to do, but it takes more time and more effort. But I would like to do it because they will stuck into that well-known sample that already existed, and they sometimes they compare. So it's always better to give them, make them used to the music, and give them, and then make it better later, and then they will satisfy.
How often do you have that directors really come to you and be like, make it sound like, I really would like a song, like just compose me something like that? Is that?
I guess most of the time.
Yeah.
Do you actually like references?
I don't. I
Oh, you
want
don't
to
like
come up.
references?
I get it a lot, and
Yeah.
I work that way a lot because there are many producers and directors like to fix things and then be comfortable with what's already there. But as an artist and a composer, I always like to bring the new thing and original thing
Yeah.
to it. So, but I have to work with the situation. So.
But it does also happen that directors send you something and go like, give me your first ideas.
Yeah, but so far, many directors like the music that's composed already. Just a couple of things that they specifically really like that music, and sometimes they just buy the copyright and use it if they really like and love that song or music.
In terms of spotting, do you have maybe samples with you could show me later where you have
Yeah,
scenes
yeah.
that maybe you compose different
Yeah.
sounds to so you can see the
Definitely,
difference?
definitely.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I find that very fascinating. And I'll ask you more later.
Who are your favorite composers? I mean, in history or living? Where do you follow?
Just beautiful. It's just beautiful. We can talk later.
Okay. Thank you.
Ευχαριστούμε. Joohee, thank you so much for the interesting presentation. It raised a lot of interest and questions from the audience. And now I would like to present Dr. Alexis Chaviaras. He's the director and animator. I met him some years ago at the festival with his films, always best awards and best award received here. And now we are associates. So he is going to tell us, he will do a short masterclass, 10 minutes, scenography and computer animation. Same time.
So, good morning. My name is Alexis Chaviaras. I'm an animator. I specialize in production design. So I've done a substantial amount of research in designing stages. And so what we are going to discuss here how the technological progress has affected the way we work. Because computer animation is not really something new. We've seen films since the early 90s, which are quite impressive, even for today's standards. The major development that we are seeing is that computers are much, much faster. They can process more data compared to what they had available when they made Toy Story 1 in 1995. So the question now is, all right, so we have acceptable image quality since 1999. What can we do with all that processing power? Can it help us in any way? On the left we have a screenshot from that film. Nowadays, of course, in the cinema, we have more impressive effects. We have more detail. If we see trees, reflections, and lighting, that's all more realistic. But Toy Story is indicative of the image quality that was achievable since the early 90s. This kind of quality is perfectly desirable for TV shows. So if we move away from the cinema, which has surpassed Toy Story, and we move into the realm of TV shows, we see that productions are a bit different because they need to make one episode every month, for example. So that's a very short amount of time compared to what they had for a feature film, which is, it took 6 years to make 80 minutes of film. That's not what we want in making TV shows. So what we will see is how we can manage these new resources, the digital resources, that help us be more productive. So one interesting fact is, this is a stage. The way they worked a couple of decades ago was they didn't want to have 3D elements that were not visible in the camera, because all these 3D assets would weigh the computer down. They would require a lot of memory and CPU power. So they used to make many different stages to film different shots. For example, if they wanted a different camera angle, they would need to make a new project file that would contain the elements of the background. If, for example, new characters would appear, they would create a new project file for a new dialogue. Whereas now, computers are much faster, so we have the option to have additional characters waiting outside the field of view of the camera and enter whenever the dialogue scene occurs. So the positive thing about productivity is that we have much fewer project files. In fact, we'll see a case where an entire sequence was made with one project file. So I designed a stage system that enables working on a long sequence with just one 3D stage. These are a few of the shots. I'll play back a portion of the film, Kremlidou, which was produced in 2015. And this is a racing sequence that we can just leave there watching. We have, seemingly there are many elements. We have in the background, we have mountains, we have trees, we have bushes, we have all those running horses. This is Olympia, and she has also friends standing at the side of the racetrack. So all of these needed to be loaded into one project file. This can be quite heavy. So in order to achieve this, I designed some stage systems that would optimize the usage of digital resources, reduce the memory requirements, and that helped tremendously during production because file saves would be much faster, the file sizes would be smaller, we could operate on all the objects quite quickly because the computers were responsive. So these are some shots that indicate the diversity. So having one stage and managing one camera that moves from place to place to create all these different shots, that's what increased productivity in making this sequence. So I'll just cut shortly. The film is available if you want to see it. It's online on YouTube. You can watch it. It's called Kremlidou, and it will lead you to the entire film. It's in good quality. So the challenge was to make the environment as light as possible. Let's have a look at all the systems. So we have the stage part, the 3D environment part, and we also have the animation part. The animation team would work simultaneously on a different project file, and the character animator would see something like this. He would have the environment of the pre-visualization, a very light environment, and he would focus on animating the characters. Yeah, that's what the character animator would see in order to animate the sequence. And these are some planning documents that show that the stage includes the entire racetrack. There are several acting spaces for running and dialogues. These are, what you see are 4 common tasks during pre-productions. We have the storyboard, which is the top frame, the floor plan on the left, which shows the acting spaces where the camera is positioned. The pre-visualization is that low image quality, low fidelity, but it enables previewing the entire film and adjusting each shot. So having all the animation on one stage helped tremendously with the pre-visualization as well, because it's not complicated. We don't have dozens of project files to work with. So here we see a few screenshots. We have approximately 12 characters. They would consume a significant percentage of the available computational envelope. For this reason, I restricted the geometry of the 3D environment. I'll show how the trees and the mountains that surround the racetrack became undemanding to compute. This is the top view of the stage. This is on the left what we see when we work in the 3D software. When we see it from above, the mountains are cut. Although in the film, we see all sorts of angles, and the mountains are surrounding the acting space. Now, the way that I achieved this is for every shot, I took those strips of mountains and I rotated them so that they are again within the field of view of the camera. So on the right, we see how the film progresses, and every time we have a cut, the camera moves in a different position, and at the same time, the mountains also move so that they are again within the field of view. And that reduced the geometry needed for the background. At the same time, you see some elements right here. These are the trees. And the trees are moving as well. Now they are in the right, because the camera is looking in that direction. And in fact, what you're seeing is that in the film, it seems that the stage is surrounded by trees, right? But in fact, they are only positioned within the field of view of the camera, and that reduces the amount of geometry tremendously. So this is again the stage, and here are the trees, which are a bit bigger, and you see them moving to be within the camera. This is the racetrack. The horses are running in that direction. So that was one way of reducing the computational load.
Are those trees 3D models, or is it just the 2D picture there?
That's a very interesting question. You're talking about the 3D assets. If they are three-dimensional, it's a hybrid. That's interesting. And I happen to have a little video that will show the asset library of mountain sides. So you will notice that they are hollow. So what I was aiming for was extremely light computational weight, not that more detail could not be managed in this production, but I wanted to try and have one workstation handle all the processes as well as the rendering very fast. And it was achievable. I didn't need a render farm for this. And the reason for this system is not for this film precisely, because this is a pilot film. It's designed to be scaled up for a TV show. And when we do a TV show, we really want all these previews, the processing of seeing the animation working. We want it to be very fast. We want to have large files. Atmospheric effects like fire. This is something that we don't commonly see in animated series or TV shows, because that would require more time to process. Although there are some examples lately that do use fur, it still is kind of a challenge. And for my project, I avoided having hair. I also avoided having leaves in the trees. So the trees are primarily images like the sides of the mountains that we saw earlier, but a bit more elaborate. There is more detail. There are some leaves, but it's still hollow from behind. And that keeps it light and seemingly with high quality. And there's another system that makes them automatically turn towards the camera, because it's a single-sided surface needs to be directed towards the camera. But the positive of this is that it's much lighter than having actual leaves on trees. So the extension of this system is that we can move trees that do have this high detail. So in productions that need detailed trees with thousands and thousands of leaves and branches, that's perfectly doable, because as we saw, the entire stage has very few trees needed to be on it, because they are repositioned for each shot. So this is the gist of it. I could talk more, but I think we have run out of time. So do you have any questions?
What do you think about using the motion capture for like facial expression or
yeah, these tools can help a lot, especially when you have lots of dialogue. You don't need to go frame by frame, keyframe by keyframe, animating by hand. And we need to keep in mind that when we talk about TV shows, we are allowed not to be so perfect. So the amount of quality needed for feature films is much more strict. So every detail must be perfect. So all these tools that enable saving time are welcome in fast productions like these. Anyone else? Great, so that covers it. Thank you.
Would you like to teach? Or you are there also? You are in your next project?
I have a video presentation of the pitch. It discusses the scale up of this production, how we can do the additional stories and the whole concept. So what we have about this production is we have the scripts for 3 episodes. We have the episode format, but I'll find the video and it will explain more about the concepts of the characters.
How long is the video?
4 minutes.
A horse named Olympia is the protagonist in the film Agrinui. Olympia the horse is an idea for a TV show aimed at children aged 5 to 8. The story inspires children to overcome adversity by working methodically and playing fairly. Olympia is a young and talented racehorse who must overcome obstacles in her quest for victory. Her friends will help fight the sinister plans of a cheating rival horse. These friends will help Olympia explore and learn in an entertaining and uplifting manner. Arnie is a mouflon who will deal with the enemy's dirty tricks with unusual but effective solutions. He approaches life and his work from a philosophical point of view. Gary the donkey is more practical, offering sometimes inelegant, hard-headed solutions. Other animal friends, such as Phoenix, Dina, Gus, and Mitch, provide Olympia help, compassion, and confidence in their own unique way. Their diverse body types enable saving the day in different situations. Mitch can fit through narrow spaces, Dina can push through heavy obstacles, and Gus can observe discreetly from the sky. The locations for the episodes can be adapted to the age of the target audience. Younger children could be drawn to a life in potentially a peaceful meadow with farm animals. Alternatively, Olympia can participate in racing tournaments in certain countries. In this case, the group of friends would come in touch with different places and cultures.
Thank you very much. Now we have a choice for a 5 minutes break because we're going to continue with the funding program from Creative Program Europe, and then we can do the rest of the pitches, or we don't do break and we do the pitches. I think we can do later, right? Who's going to pitch more? Okay, so we have 5 minutes break now. Thank you. He's one of the pitchers. Thank you. So, this is the second part of today's morning program. I would like to present very dear friends and associates from Creative Europe Media Cyprus, Padelia Kremlidou and Nenad Bogdanovic, and they are going to present the funding program for possible cooperations with European countries in Cyprus. So we are honored that you are here and you are listening.
Thank you very much, Petra. Thank you. Let me
start with thanking you for the invitation, which of course we accepted for the second year, to come here today and present you the Creative Europe program and especially the media calls for the 2024. My name is Elena. I'm an officer at the organization of the European Programs and Cultural Relations, which manages the Creative Europe desk. I will start with a short introduction to the Creative Europe program and what our organization does. And then Nenad Bogdanovic, who is the head of the Creative Europe desk and the coordinator of the organization, will present the course. Okay?
Thank you.
The Creative Europe program is the program that the European Union created in order to support the creative and the cultural sectors all over Europe and also beyond. And now we are during the period of 2021-2027, the programmatic period, and there is a total budget of 1.5 billion euro to be distributed among the European countries and the organizations, all of you who work in the creative sector. The main aim of the program is to support, today we're going to talk about the media program especially, and the main aim is to support all of you, the audiovisual film sectors, in order to expand your audiences, to help you become more competitive, and of course to initiate collaborations among all of you to create the products that you create, each one of you. First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about us. We represent the Organization for European Programs and Cultural Relations, which is under the Ministry of Culture, the newly established Ministry of Culture of Cyprus. The organization aims actually to promote and support all the creative organizations in Cyprus in order to promote their work also in Cyprus but also abroad. The organization manages the national contact point for the Citizens Equality, Rights and Values program, which is the third program which supports the civil society organizations. And there are calls throughout the year that come up in that sector. And of course the Creative Europe desk, under which we are here today. In addition, the organization manages the Cyprus Center for Music Research, Innovation and International Networking, and it participates in a lot of initiatives like the UNIC, the European Union National Institutes of Culture, the New European Bauhaus, the KIPS, and others. The Creative Europe desks have in their mission, the most important aspects of their mission is to promote the calls which are announced throughout the years. This means that we as a desk communicate through our communication channels in Cyprus. We go all over the island, and also we also give webinars. We promote the calls as they are announced by the Commission. Of course, we are here to facilitate the applicants, all of you, and this is done in a lot of ways. And of course, we offer one-to-one sessions if someone wishes. And we, of course, support the dissemination of the results. We as a desk, we get informed every year about the results of the calls and the participants who were successful, and we are happy to disseminate all this and to offer to all of you good practices. Of course, the Creative Europe desk, they exist in all countries, and our work is not actually to write your proposals, but to support you and facilitate you. The programs are competitive, and of course the Commission is the one who decides which calls are given the funding. Now, the Creative Europe objectives, generally as a program, is to safeguard, develop and promote the European cultural and linguistic diversity and heritage. And of course, through the calls that they are announced, they try to increase the competitiveness among the creative sectors and the industry to support the economic potential of the culture in the creative sectors. And of course, the media calls are here to support the audiovisual sector. Now for the period of the 21-27, there is a 2.5 billion euro budget, and which is distributed among the three strands of the program. The first one, which is culture, is given the 33% of the whole budget. The media, which gets the biggest amount, is the 58%, and the cross-sectorial strand gets the 9%. I'm going to talk a little bit about the culture, the culture and the cross-sectorial, and then we go into media, which Nenad is going to give more details. So under the first strand, which is the culture, the European Union supports the European cooperation projects. The call was just announced with a deadline in February of 2024, and this year we have the calls for the medium scale projects, which promotes the participation of 2 or 3 countries, and the small scale. And of course there is the call for the European literary translations, which we're going to also present in the book festival in Limassol this month, which promotes actually the translations among the European Union countries in order to enhance and to distribute books in more common languages. It's the European cultural networks, platforms, and the pan-European entities. Under the second strand, which is the cross-sectorial, we have the presidency events. In 2026, we have the Cyprus getting the presidency, the innovation labs, journalist partnerships, and of course the Creative Europe desks, which is us. I'm going to hand over the presentation to Nenad so that he tells you about the media strands and the call.
Okay, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Mike. Yes? So, as Pandelia said, Creative Europe is the main cultural program of the European Union. For those not from the European Union, European Union is an intergovernmental organization in all Europe with 27 member states. And in Brussels we have the capital of European Union, which is composed, which is a place of working for over 60,000 officers, administration of the European Union. So they propose the budget of European Union to the European Commission, which is the government of the Union, to the European Parliament. And the European Parliament every 7 years approves a budget of over 1,000 billion euro for 7 years. One tiny line of this is the Creative Europe program, directly supporting, aiming to support at least the creative and cultural sectors. So these 2.5 billion euro that Pandelia mentioned are kind of channelized through 3 programs that used to be separate, but now they are united since 2013, and we call it Creative Europe. But the biggest part of it, the media strand, that brings 58% of the Creative Europe, which is 1.5 billion euro, is about audiovisual sectors. As desks, we always look for opportunities to present the strand media, previously called media programs, to the professionals of the sector, so they have a better idea on what the European Union is doing for them, and how they could be utilizing that support. Now, bearing in mind that 1.5 billion euro is not a small amount, despite the 7 years, the length of the program of 7 years, media is further divided into groups of calls. called clusters. So every call is announced every year, almost, or every 2 years. So the three branches of Creative Europe program, media, culture, and cross-sectorial, have its own further four branches called clusters. Okay, the 4 branches of media program are content cluster, that has to do with the creation and production of high quality content. The second is the one called business cluster, supporting businesses around the film production, like distribution, sales agents, and so on. The third one, you cannot have an industry if you don't have users, aims to increase the appreciation and consumption of the audiovisual products. And finally, if you don't have a good policy framework, if you don't have good regulation, an industry cannot operate. Practically seeing, European Union aims to support through content cluster the co-development and slate development, when you make more works under one umbrella. Co-development, video games and immersive content, and TV and online productions. The TV is the only production, the rest are about development and post-production. The business cluster supports media talents, markets, participation on the European and international markets, sales and distribution, innovative tools and business models. The others, these are names of the calls, okay? And I will explain what the call is a little bit later. Audience cluster is about supporting cinemas to present the European content, festivals also to present and exchange European content, VOD, video on demand, and operators, films on the move, subtitling, audience development, and so on. And you might be receiving, or at least some of you, a newsletter from the European Audiovisual Observatory that monitors and suggests to the European Commission, to the government of European Union, what are the problems of the sector, so the Union makes new laws to regulate the operation of the sectors. Because creative and cultural sectors are one of 14 strategic industries of the European Union. We have over 10 million people in Europe working in our sectors. Those sectors have a turnover of 500 billion euro per year. We have over 1.2 million companies working in those sectors. So it is huge. It is a strength of Europe to have so creative citizens, businesses, also audiences. So the media program starts to further develop those and support. When you are thinking about European programs, there are two broad directions that are common to all European programs. When we say European programs, you might be hearing about Erasmus+, if you were a student, or Horizon Europe for research, or integration of migrants, so Creative Europe is one of them. But all of them have two general directions, horizontal directions. Whatever we do throughout European actions, we have to think about how less to damage the planet, with the goal that in 2050, Europe will be carbon neutral. And the second one, whatever we do, we always have to think about the others. Others, throughout the European history, were seen as enemies, whoever they are, or the ones who bring some problems. So we had national minorities, we had recently immigrants, we have women always wishing to have equal role in the society. So the inclusion We have LGBTIQ plus population. Inclusion is the second, I would say, value or horizontal priority, cross-cutting priority, that whatever we do, we always have to consider. Okay, these are kind of two glasses that we put. The one is green and one is a little bit more complicated. But we are talking about gender equality, integration of migrants, social integration, and in general equality, particularly to LGBT population. Now we are at the content cluster. Do you see I was mentioning 4 clusters? So we have Creative Europe, we have Media. Media has 4 clusters, and the clusters are further broken down into the COPs. European mini slate development, European co-development, video games, and TV and online content, and all of them are open now for the submission. As I said, the previous has to do with the development. Only TV and online content has to do with production. So here is the list, but I see some words in Greek. The word in Greek means deadline. So you will see the deadline or the 10 calls that I will try briefly to introduce in 10 minutes. So I have a 1 minute per call. So let's start. TV and online content. The idea is to support the producers of TV and online content to increase their participation in the global markets. Not only through broadcasting TV channels, but also through VOD, video on demand. So TV consumption is very important. In order to be more visible on the global scale, because today we have giants like United States, like I don't know, Turkey, Egypt, Korea, they have Korean, right? Just watching last night Korean series. So we need more European content in the global market. And Creative Europe supports the TV and online content for the production. Deadline is 7th of December, but there will be another deadline, 14th of May next year. So what we would like to see there, and I could share this presentation so you can find it easier. It supports cooperation between operators from different countries to create better, more competitive TV content. I think this is clear enough. Let's also, okay, let's move to the next one. European slate development. Slates are a series of 3 to 5 works in the case of bigger countries with higher capacity, and in the case of countries with lower capacity like Cyprus, Malta, the slate could be 2 to 3 projects. Okay, the idea is again to support, so 2 plus 1 short film or 3 plus 1 short film for the small countries for the development phase. So it is not a production, we are not obliged. The grants are about 55,000 to 60,000 euros for up to 2 years. So the producers have enough time not to do the other jobs and gigs, like filming the weddings and commercials, like most of us do, but to dedicate themselves to concentrate on production high quality work. So we call it European slate development. Slates are, as I said, 3 to 5. They could be all the fiction, animation, or creative documentary. Always aiming at commercial exploitation, and this is something that you will see throughout the media program. What we produce in Europe needs to bring the money, first of all for the sectors, and then for the entire society. So it is the new direction. Europe has a huge tradition of producing arts just for the art's sake. It was good at some points of history, but nowadays we are losing the game because Hollywood production sells 60% of European ticket box offices of Europe, and European productions cannot reach 1% of the ticket sales in USA. So it is about competitiveness, yes. That Vandalia previously mentioned as one of the objectives of the Creative Europe program. Now, the next call with deadline 18th of January has to do with more visibility of European works in the European markets. So they support the European industry markets and especially collaboration between various markets, so they promote more European works. Does it make sense? Yes? So to create the general kind of results that are expected for those who apply is to improve the innovative aspect of existing industry markets. Some markets might look as a little bit oldish or not really innovative, not really competitive. To encourage the creation of networks and markets, to encourage the development of networks among the European professionals, to promote sustainability and greening, and to improve the competitiveness. So more marketing into the films is needed, and this is done through this very call. What European Union funds, these are industry events, physical, digital, or hybrid, focused on business to business exchange, and this is very important for those of you who are producers. Because it is all about audiovisual ecosystem. If you don't have enough education, then producers, artists, will not be well prepared to do their job. And once they are prepared through education, if they are not dedicated to the product, if they don't have time or capacity or resources, they cannot produce really good artistic portfolio. And that's why we have this development code. And once they produce even the film, so much work, these films need to be further spread. And that's why markets and networking are crucial there. So it is ecosystemic approach. Creative Europe is about ecosystemic approach. I think I briefly presented this one. Video games. Now, I think I should be moving this out of the picture, but let's say that audiovisual industry is becoming more and more interconnected. A long time ago, decades ago, we had strict genres between disciplines. People in theater were theater, people in music. Music, okay, opera, musical were first kind of experiments of merging two arts. But today, the art seems to be, the borderline between different arts is almost not existing. Thinking about video games industry, European Union put it into media strand because it is about visual experience most likely. So we have special goals for development of the video games and immersive content. They give to startups for video games up to 150,000 euros per project. So they kind of invest into new video games, which are narrative games, not fighting games. There is extended lists of what is not permitted there, but narrative, historical games are encouraged to be produced with the support of the European Union. And the deadline is 24th of January 2024. So if you know someone who is into video games, do encourage them to visit Creative Europe's website, Video Games Club. Innovative tools and business models. In this ecosystemic approach, where you have different chains of the industry, it is very important to keep it neat. clean, new, to refresh it by new ideas and kind of support different chains with new ways of thinking. There is a dedicated called Innovative Tools and Business Model for those ones who are proposing new stuff. Let's mention like copyright collection, that is a pending issue, fighting piracy, for instance. It could bring, through technology, really disruptive effect to the entire industry. So Creative Europe support this kind of projects. For this, you would rather go to the previously funded projects and get in touch with us to see what it is about. But it is more for, not for the producer of the films, but for those one who support them from the point of view of probably technology, monetizing, and this kind of stuff. Just remember your lives before the Facebook. You see, and Facebook appeared. We were somehow connected. We somehow knew all these people, or Instagram, or social media. This is innovation of our epoch. And all these ideas were created in garage as startups. So innovative tools are those ones who are trying those ideas that will be implemented with the support of the union to improve the efficiency and transparency of the audiovisual markets, automated rights management technology for data gathering and analysis, and so on. So it is like high-tech. Films on the move. What it is about, if there is anyone who promotes the films here, like sales agents, there is a special dedicated code called Films on the Move that supports wider distribution of films produced by more countries. So they make a selection. The funds are about 200,000 to 300,000 euros. So you make for a specific film that they estimate has a commercial value to push it throughout the borders. Pan-European campaigns on the specific movies. But the movies need to be, of course, European and produced between different countries. I think this is a good call and deserves further research. Films on the move. As I said, these are campaigns for the non-European theatrical or online distribution of eligible European films. There is a list of films coordinated by the sales agents of the film. Finally, VOD. Is it finally? No, there is network of festivals. Video on demand in each country of European Union. In Cyprus, we have 5 VOD companies. Usually, they are connected to national TV like Cityvision. They are Prime Home. Is there anyone from Cyprus here? Okay. Cable net, yes. Okay. Just to have a sense what is the audience. So video on demand, as we say, yes. Well, it is a company. It is at the very end. But it is a platform of showcasing the creativity, right? So we might have millions of films in Europe, but if we don't support their distribution to the final users, to the audiences, the whole system will not work. That's why creativity supports VOD networks and operators and encourages cross-border cooperation. As someone smartly said, we need a European Netflix. But it is not yet there. Yes. I think the probably final call is network of European festivals. There are many festivals in Europe. This one is beautiful. It is 18. Where is Petra? Congratulations. I repeat and convey our congratulations on the really international scope of the festival And all these useful connections, I'm sure you will be utilized in the future. And this is something that probably could be funded by the European Union, because we have many festivals, and the connections between festivals and leveraging those festivals into something bigger. Because in Europe, 1 + 1 is 3, or 2 + 2 is 5. When, you know, the creativity and the potential when people from different countries or different frameworks they meet, or even when people working in different segments of the industry meet and they discuss the common problem, then something good is always deliberating, and this is very important to happen. And that's why we have probably in the field of presenting European works, the collaborations and networks of European festivals. So consider this if you are running a festival in your country. Okay. Only 15 minutes for 10 calls. You are lucky. You are lucky because I will not take much more time. Where to find Creative Europe calls? Well, I don't have this, but you can see there in small letters something called funding and tender opportunities. This is something. And a page like this will appear. Funding and tenders opportunities, because people didn't know where to find all these calls and programs and all about. So the European Union finally created top FTOP, Funding and Tenders Opportunities portal, where all European programs could be found. Our is here, and CERF is here. No, this is Digital Europe. CERF is here. They are national contact points run by our organization. So funding and tender opportunities portal for all European calls. You click on it, and then you click on the view, if you don't search anything, and then all the open calls with their deadlines will appear. Sorry. I will show you how this looks and show you practically how this works, because what I'm presenting today here is just an introduction, and it won't work if you don't start searching, if you don't start networking. By talking about European programs to the others, you will detect that actually there is a massive number of persons applying and companies to European funds. So usually they are looking for partners from other countries. Through this very platform, you might also try to find the partners. But I would really like to show you where to declare interest for partnerships. We go to Creative Europe program, funding and tenders opportunities. We see all the programs there. Films on the move, TV online content, network marketing, VOD, European slate development. I will choose this one, and there I will click on it, and you will see there the deadline, 13th of December, the budget overview, 16 million, 18 million euros. Then you might read the call document. These are crucial steps. The call document is about each call for proposals, Creative Europe program, call for proposals. It is dev slate, development of slate for 24. It is about a 30 pages PDF that explains everything. Of course, if you're reading this for the first time, you will not understand anything. Then you call Creative Europe desk, ask, and then we tell you read better. And then this is how it works. But if you start applying, finally, you then learn how all this works. What is important is that usually, in the start submission, you might download all the forms, but we can help you with this app. I will go to another call, just to show you like films on the move. they didn't open the partner search. Usually there are partner search for these calls. Like for cooperation grants, small scales, that Vandalia, you might see search for partners. So this is how it works. I go back to my presentation where we realized that the page we have is the condition, so we have to update our PowerPoint. Of course, European Union has produced millions of webinars, video tutorials online for all these calls. You simply search Creative Europe info session for the call you are interested. We will forward you, if you left your email there, the presentation. Of course, you can follow us on the social media, Organization for European Programs and Cultural Relations, EPCR, info, on Facebook, Creative Europe Desk Cyprus. This is something I really recommend. You will see various calls. Organization for European Programs, OIPS. Serve Cyprus and Cyprus Music Information Centers are for social media pages on Facebook. I think everything was clear. There is yeah. No, please feel free to ask anything. Yes, I'm done with my presentation, but is there any question? Yes.
So if we have a European project which is serving exactly this Creative Europe subjective, but it would be necessary to do the co-production with the minority companies, independent companies, or independent filmmakers from the other outside of the European Union. Let's say, for example, by Asia or Middle East, or even now UK, which is outside of the European Union. How would that work for the application?
It doesn't work. In terms of formal partnership, what we say partners, we mean beneficiaries of the grant, the one who signed documents, who received directly the fund. But the activities of Creative Europe could be done in any country. Bear in mind that I cannot now draw a chart to explain, but your project as a film, for instance, let's make a film, is not the your European project is a part of your larger project, which is to make and distribute the film, right? European Union is funding specific actions, mainly for the development. This development could be done anywhere, and this funding of 60,000 euros for the development for the 2 years period could be given to at least 2 partners. Nobody prohibits that they include another partner and distribute the funds through the purchasing services, or covering the costs, or putting people in the crew, and so on and so on. But the legal entity, the company who is in charge for this money, for this very period, and these activities that you promised to do, are those from the program countries. Now, I have to say that not all, Creative Europe is covering not only the European countries, European Union countries, but also the candidate countries, and also some other countries that are not even candidates. Like Tunisia has signed a contract with European Union for media strike, and some others. We have Norway, Iceland. UK is unfortunately what we call third country outside. It is simply, no, not third world.
Serbia.
Country. Serbia is candidate country, yes. Candidate country, so it is a program country. It has its own Creative Europe desk, and Creative Europe, Erasmus, and other European programs operate fully in Serbia. So it is considered as European Union country.
The applicant, the legal
need to be established
must be
in
this list of these
program countries. The program countries are European Union countries for sure, because all European Union countries participate in all European Union programs by default. plus some other countries that we call altogether program countries. Yes, Serbia, North Macedonia, Bosnia, Montenegro, Ukraine. By the way, I have to say that the emphasis for the 2024 will be given to Ukraine due to invasion of Russia to Ukraine. It's a horizontal priority of the program. Entire program, resilience of the sector, and inclusion, these are three main priorities of the program for 24. But in any case, just to be sure, the best thing would be to get in touch with someone and check this eligibility, because each of these calls now has the entire presentation of 2-3 hours, how to make each of these 10 calls that I presented in 15 minutes. You understand? It is not something that we can easily answer yes or no, but there is a way. Because Europe wants to be global cultural leader, and in order to be this in a proper way, not through colonialism like before, you need equal collaboration. You need to appreciate the other people, other countries, and learn from them at the same time. And this concept of cultural relations between countries is one of the main components of European cultural policy. Next question. Thank you. May I thank Pandelia for wonderful introduction and support for our this. I invite you to the okay. Sorry then. Then see you on the lunch, which is offered by Creative Europe. Not because of the food, but because of talks that we would like, and chats and networking that we encourage. So yes, feel free to get back to us, to other colleagues in other countries, and we will be at your disposal. Thank you very much.
Now we will have pictures and then 3 to 5 minutes. We have your presentations as well. And then we can enjoy the lunch afterwards. Does that sound okay? Thank you.
Hello everybody. My name is Alexander Sadruddini. I'm based in the UK, London. I come from Iranian origin, and I do film post-production for almost 30 years. And also I jumped into the filmmaking since 2005. And I just completed my first feature film this year, which was presented at this 18th International Film Festival in Cyprus, thanks to Petra, the rest of the team. Thank you. And today I'm presenting the pitch deck for my next project, which is called Colors of Destiny. Now, unlike my first film, which was philosophical poetic, this is a dark comedy social drama. So when I say dark comedy, it has the elements of the dark comedy. Imagine like Coen Brothers movies, which they are quite dark, but quite comedic as well. And let me get started with that one. So I presented this pitch presentation. I have a little bit difficulties to use Windows. So the story is about the Iranian pregnant woman who reaches the shore of the European Union. The story was written for Greece, but it can be adapted to Cyprus or any other European countries. And this woman has a secret, which is 3 months pregnant from escaping from abusive marriage in Iran. And many of the asylum seekers, they escape those countries for many different reasons. But you know that there is a suppressive culture in those countries, especially against women. So this woman reaches to the shore of the European Union. And then instead of taking the normal application, which is 99% rejected by the immigration authorities, and that they have to go through the forging and faking documents. The woman has 6 months. Our woman name is Mariam, and you can imagine that Mariam is chosen deliberately for the name. Has 6 months to find a different approach, different strategy for granting asylum in Europe, and that is to find a husband. So she's charming, she's good looking. All of the women are good looking. It's just not that, but she has a confidence that she can find a husband easily, because back in Iran, it's very easy for her to get attention from them. But unlike her expectation, this journey is putting a lot of challenge in front of her, and despite that many of the datings that she goes through that with a different age, she cannot find a suitable husband, for future husband for herself. So in here, I describe the synopsis, which is quite long for this very short period of time of the presentation. So that's why I skipped this part. But you can see in here, I presented the images of the moment that she arrives to the EU shores, using the inflated boats, which is very dangerous, and many of the immigrants and refugees, you know, that they've been drawn in these waters between those countries and Europe. And then the moment that she gradually transformed to dating different guys to hunting for as a husband, which she confronts a different abuse, completely different type of abuse and tricks by many men. So in here, in the next page, I compare this film with a seminar of films which was a dark comedy social drama. So we focus on the dark comedy social dramas, on the feature films. We started from a high budget production starting with $26 million. It's called Yesterday. It's a UK production. It's a dark comedy social drama. And it's a revenue, the gross world sales, which comes to $154 million. So it's for the pitching, it's very important to give the right comparable movies, what kind of, because investors, they need to look at these figures, definitely. So the very last one, which it doesn't include any famous or known actor or cast, and is very low budget comparison with the Hollywood style, is $4 million. We can see the gross world, it was $18 million. And this is we call it art house independent film, which could be a very good comparable with my film. And next page, I have a set of the dream cast with the 2 different budget prediction and projection. And in here, we have candidate 2 actress celebrities. The first one is Golshifteh Farahani to act as the Mariam. And we have a very famous Iranian comedian called Joohee Jeon. He's known famous in USA and in the UK. And we do have, we can eventually change this streaming cast to different cast, depends on the company who apply or get the fund for that. For example, we can include entirely only European cast into this project. And in here, this is a strategy that we would like to, because this is a European art house independent social drama, so the target audience will be mainly the film festivals within Europe and also worldwide. And in here, we have a budget estimation. It's quite modest budget, which is $2.5 million, which we include above the line, which is completely the pre-production and development, and below the line, which is the production and post-production, into that, separated in the list. And also there is a projected revenue that how much will be considered to be in an average estimation to be sold. The profit will come to 8 million. And that's about me, which is in the pitch presentation. The director needs to introduce himself as what he has achieved in the past and his background. That's what is included into this speech presentation. And also I do have on board attached an award-winning DOP, which his short film won Oscar, and he's collaborating with me on this film project. He's also Iranian, and he's attached to this project, which can bring lots of value in terms of the visuals to the film. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer. Otherwise, I think my time is up. Right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Niki. We are from Hungary. Maybe some of them you saw the film yesterday. I don't think we have to watch it as a 1-minute trailer about the film. So our next idea to make the second part of this film, but it depends on the war, because when the war ends in Ukraine, because we would like to do the second part about how the kids go back to Ukraine, what they found, what will find in Ukraine. Can they go home? As I know, some of them cannot find their house because it was bombed. So we do documentaries, and it could be the second part of our documentary. What they bring from Hungary to home to Ukraine, what we'll find, how they can, what is the challenges for them after the war. But when we did this film, it was 1 year ago in November, before Christmas, and we thought that in that time the war will be end. But we were, I think, too optimistic, and we are not optimistic now. We are very pessimistic because we don't know when it will be finished. So maybe we will do it earlier, because I think it could be interesting also what we find now. And one more interesting thing about our documentary could be that the husband of our one who was in the film, teacher of the kids, she's now in Budapest, but her husband is still in Ukraine, eastern part of Ukraine, in Kharkiv, and he also works in the Cyprus, and he do the rehearsals in the basement right now, still from the beginning of the war. They wanted to, those children who live still in Kharkiv, they want to continue to do the trainings, not to forget how to do it, to give them motivation, to give them a future, as Svetlana said in the film, a professional future. So it also could be interesting for, I think, for the viewers, what they can find at home, how they live, and what is the future for them. That could be our next film, but everything depends on politicians, and we hope that very soon we will find peace, not just in Ukraine, but the other parts of the world. We could do films really about peace, not just wishful thinking about peace. So that's all. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Sarah Sadeh, and I'm going to share with you my feature film script. So the film is a psychological drama that follows the story of Yasmin, and I'm going to share with you her story. There she stood on a roof looking into a mosque and church. Bathed in the sea of humans, the sun was shining bright above the city of Beirut, as history was being made. 2 million people had gathered, breaking down the walls of segregation and separation that had tormented Lebanon for years. Yasmin, a passionate young dancer, stood among the crowd, raising her voice against corrupt government and challenges preventing the youth of following their dreams. It was a historic moment, the start of a revolution. Yasmin aspires to study professional dance in New York. but her determination remained unwavering. The city resonated with the hums and chants of hope, an anthem of generation determined to carve out better tomorrow for the nation. So in the revolution, Yasmin meets Alex, and then a love story unveiled. However, the relationship faced new challenges as the revolution in the city. So her visa complication loomed on the horizon, posing a potential threat that Yasmin's dream will not be true. As Yasmin joined the protest movement, she faced government brutality and physical abuse. A heartbreaking farewell call with Alex, who left Lebanon for safety, deepened their bond. The country eventually began to return to normality. The echoes of the revolution were dying down, suffocating the government's violence. Yasmin's determination faced further tests, but an unexpected visa approval allowed her to go to New York. However, just as quickly as the revolution began, with flames of light and bursts of joy, it faded into the background. Yasmin arrives in New York. We see her sad and heartbroken, leaving home. She meets Alex, but her expectations were not met. A sudden return to Beirut, triggered by her father's illness. She walks into the streets of Beirut, and we see Yasmin feeling more belonging. Then a devastating explosion rocked the city, exposing Yasmin to death and bloodshed, though she miraculously remained physically unharmed. She emerges as a survivor amidst the chaos. The explosion shattered Yasmin's world and her dreams, leaving her soul in despair. Slowly, normality crept back into people's lives, and the horror of the explosion gave way to the dullness of routine. Yet, from the ashes of pain, Yasmin found strength, picking herself up, joining her friends, and rebuilding Beirut. In a deeply moving moment, Yasmin takes center stage, tears streaming off her face, and we see her perform a dance performance to her people. With unwavering dedication, she dedicates her performance to her country, serving as a testament to her remarkable resilience and unwavering spirit. Her journey was a symbol of the transformation unfolding within her nation. One Moment is a feature film script, and it's based on a true story, and it's my story. Thank you.
Yes, so my name is Chris. I see some familiar faces. I'm a director of a short film that will play in the festival, and we're here for our next project that we have in mind. It's called Arabesque, from the classical piece from Claude Debussy. The protagonist is a young girl, teenage girl of 16 years old. She has her problem is that her parents are divorced. That she is a realist and a pragmatist, and she sees the world as it is, but the world is not enough for her. She wants to make something of her own and give her Pinaya. I can't find the word in English. Her side, let's say, of the story, and she then decides in the end that she can no longer pretend that she can affect the real world, and she has to accept the reality as it is. In terms of visuals, we would like to have faded and low contrast and muted colors in the present scene, so that they convey her psychology, that she feels a little depressed and when I'm depressed and burdened by her current situation. And in some flashbacks that we have with her family when she was a child, they will be colorful and bright so that we can convey the happiness that she had in those memories, in those moments. And in the final scene that she decides to leave everything behind, everything will be bright and the sun will illuminate everything so that we can see that she is heading for a fresh future. The short film that I have here is my first short film that will be played in the festival. It's called Barania. It's about a schizophrenic that has hallucinations and dreams and illusions. And yeah, we managed to make that film in a basically no budget, and I believe we can get creative with little to no means and make something good. But we will have to make a precise prediction of the budget so that we can have a right result. And yes, the key things that I would take from the script are the characters, because they feel like real people and they have their own flaws and their own goals, and they try to pursue each of their goals in every scene. And also the dynamic of the family, their past relationship affects every word that it is being said, and I think it's a very good script and a very interesting narrative and the story that can be heard. That was it. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Elena, and I want to share with you a story, a film based on my short. But first, I want to say a few words about me. So I started making movies 6 years ago. I started with documentaries. I was studying journalism in Moscow. So during my studies, I made 2 documentaries. First was about feature university applicants, and second about Bashkir feminists. It's, if you know, I think you don't know, Bashkortostan is sorry, I'm nervous. Bashkortostan is a national republic of Russia. In Russia, after making these documentaries, I understood that I am interested in 2 main themes. It's feminism and body positivity, body shaming, etc. So I entered Moscow Film School and made 2 feature shorts. You also can see this. First, the world maybe not meet you watched yesterday, and also I have my diploma. It's a drama, teenage drama about women. So now I'm located in Georgia, and the aim of my speech today, I'm just trying to find some people to collaborate with, or to find some ways like to make the film. I planned to. It was planned to be developed in Russia, but now it isn't possible. So we already have synopsis, detailed synopsis we made with my co-writer, and it was her advice to try to change, to translate our synopsis and to adopt somehow. Because in Russia it's a bit impossible now to make like this kind of story. So the genre is dramatic, comedy, satire, and it's full-length film. What is the story about? In simple words, it's about a sexist man who enters the parallel world where women behave like men and men behave like women. So on his example, we can see the discriminations women usually face, and the main character is Max, and he needs to go through a familiar experience to understand his mistakes. So a couple words about the character. He's 32, and he also has a teenage daughter and ex-wife, and he's the head of architectural bureau. So the story begins when Max's friend and colleague Paul helps the company to win a bid, but he steals the idea of his assistant Lena. Max notices that, but he doesn't believe Lena because she's a woman, and he doesn't believe in her intellectual capacity. So after that, barwoman just notices the argument in the bar and transfers him to another world. In this world, Max is subordinate of Lena, and in his world he related women with their appearance and objectified them. So in this world, he becomes objected by women, and also he has to conform to ideals of beauty standards, and do all these beauty practices like shaving legs, putting on makeup, etc. Also, Max faces the harassment from his colleagues, and in his world he encouraged harassment and used it by himself. And I just trying to mention some points, some issues we touch in this movie. So also he's a single father, and he has a daughter, and he is also judged. He has an ex-wife who doesn't help him at all, and he's judged by being a bad father in this world. Also, on the example of his daughter, we see how patriarchy affects boys and why they become who they become, and because his daughter is actually the epitome of toxic masculinity, and looking to her and looking to how she behaves and the mistakes she makes, he understands the mistakes he made in his life, and we go to the finish of this movie. At the end, I guess Max realized something and has an opportunity to change something in his real life, in his previous life. So, okay, very quick references. We already have films like that. I didn't copy the idea, but I found out that there are 3 films with the same twist. It's India, Network, and 2 French films. Also, they're really great. So, if you want somehow help me, and if you can direct me to some people, you can just text me, and I will send you the synopsis. So, thank you.
First, we see the trailer of the movie, and then we
Η μάνα μου έλεγε για την αδερφή μου πως είναι πολύ όμορφη, γιατί τη ζωγράφησε ο Θεός. Η ζωγραφιά του Θεού έφερε συννεφιά και σκοτάδι στη ζωή μου.
Φυσικά και τρέπεται για σένα. Ποιος δεν θα τρεπόταν, βάρος του είσαι, δεν του προσφέρεις και τίποτα. Αγάπη.
Θέλω να μου αποσχεθείς ότι θα προσέχεις τη Θοδώρα σαν τα μάτια σου. Ήρθε η σειρά σου τώρα.
Ποια σειρά?
Μπλα 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 μπλα. Το σπίτι μας ανήκει στη Θεοδώρα.
Κάτσε, να σου εξηγήσει. Ποιος θα τη φροντίσει?
Αδερφάνα.
Μου έρχεται να σε σκοτώσω.
Είμαι η Αλεξής. Ποια είναι η ψυχολόγος μαζί μας? Είναι η ψυχοθεραπεύτρια της Θεοδόρας. Στο βαθμό θα τη κλείσω εγώ κατευθείαν.
Και πάλι μπροστά μου η Θεοδώρα.
Σε λίγο θα μου πεις ότι χορεύεις κιόλας.
Ναι, χορεύω.
Πού μόλις, στα όνειρά σου?
Ναι, μερικές φορές ονειρεύομαι ότι πετάω. Τι μου δώσει? Να μην με απαντήσουν.
Είναι ανάπηρη, δεν το βλέπεις?
Ανάπηρος γίνεται κάποιος όταν του κόβεις τις ράμπες.
Βλέπεις να υπάρχουν ράμπες σε αυτή τη χώρα?
Ξέρεις, τα παιδιά σαν την αδελφή σου, το μόνο που χρειάζονται είναι να τα αποδεκτούν. Όπως όλοι μας δηλαδή.
Έχεις μια αδελφή. Εγώ είμαι. Αυτή θα βουλεύει.
Τ' αγαπάς?
Τι?
Την αγαπάς?
Ό,τι θέλω. Άντε, πέθανε λοιπόν να τελειώνουμε.
This was a theatrical play in the first, and then because it has much success in Athens, we decided to make it a movie. It's our first try to make something in film. We are now in the things to send it in festivals, and all the advices you have to give me. It's okay. I'm the writer of the film. I'm an actor. I'm co-producing in the film, and I work most in the theater in Athens. I'm from Greece. And we took the step of doing something like that because we want the world, the audience, to see about these people who have disabilities. It's not that we must pity of them or something like that, but with the right conditions, we can admire that people. Later, if you want to ask me how it is to work with people with disabilities, I'm very glad to say about that. I write the sequel. In Greek, we say Ζωγραφιά του Θεού. It's God's painting in English, and now we have God's painting number 2, but in theatrical form. So if we found the funds, we're gonna make it also a movie. And that I don't want to tell you much. Thank you very much, and see you after.
Congratulations. I'm going to give an award to the pitches less than 5 minutes. This is all for today, for this morning. Thank you for being here, sharing your dreams, your concepts, your visions with us. Let's have a lunch. Let's go to at 3:30 we will be at Marina Mercury for more movies. For more movies. Yes. Δεν νομίζω πως
Το όνομα σου πώς είναι?
Είναι ο συνθέτης για την ταινία που κάνει. Έγραψε την Ευρωπαία.
Ωραία. Το ταινιάκι σας, την παράνη.
Ναι, θα παιχτεί σήμερα.
Θα παιχτεί τι ώρα?